Good evening, everybody. My name is Akin Deji. I would like you to imagine if you have a technology that is groundbreaking, such as a car that is extremely fast, like a Bugatti Veyron, or you have a technology such as a mobile phone. I was talking with Flavia about losing your privacy, and she said something like, everybody wants it compulsory, that when they send you a text message, you reply, or when they call you, you answer. So there's an expectation. The same thing happens. We have an expectation from the government, and one of the expectations is security. And what we need to discover is that the technology or the innovations is moving at a fast pace, is moving at an astounding pace, such that the government cannot keep up with it. So they either use it or misuse it. So we can expect them to use it or misuse it. It's a dichotomy. It's not either or. They are likely to do both. And that is what prompts my topic today, which is a sort of a technology undertone to what we call surveillance and privacy. A modern technology undertone, rather. Surveillance is defined as regard or attendance to others, whether a person, a group, or an aggregate, as with the national census, or to factors presumed to be associated with this. That is a general overview of what surveillance is. That means I'm attending to you. I'm like a big brother to you. And we see surveillance is, the prevalence of surveillance is getting more and more these days. And we can't say that it is good or it is bad, because we're going to see as we continue. But the content, surveillance as such is neither good or bad, but the content of it or the comportments do make it so. So the reason for surveillance in the general overview, or whether it's political or business, is security. It's either you want a commercial security, or you want a national security, or a supranational security like NATO or the EU, and things like that. But to what ends? Nobody knows, because we are in the process of evolution. Human beings are in the process of evolution. I was discussing with someone, there's going to be a man-machine interaction in the future. So you cannot decide. You cannot say humans will decide what is going to happen. And in actual fact, technologies nowadays are not being decided by humans. They are decided by what is called algorithms. Send the information, and the machine does it whether you're sleeping on your bed or you're awake looking at it. So is it towards a social reference? We don't know. Does the government want a kind of a subversion whereby everybody is conscious that the government is watching, whether if the big brother is watching, or is it towards a perception of safety? Is the government trying to sell itself to the people such that the people can, of course, vote? And when I mean the government, I'm talking of the powers that be, whether in business or, like I was saying, virtually everything is business. Whether it's archaeology, academics is business.
Marriage is business.
Marriage is business. Virtually everything is business. So depending on how you're looking at it. So are you trying to sell yourself that come under me, I'll be safe? Everybody knows that the democratic world is the safest world, so to say. So everybody rushes under. The caravan comes in, they want to be safe from Mexico. They want to move in. So there is that aura of, oh, we're safe. Business coming to this country, start your business, be hardworking, be smart working, you'll make it. So there's that kind of safety, so to say. But privacy defined, and now it has a conflict with what is called privacy. So there is surveillance. Now, how does it relate to privacy? We'll talk about it, but let's see the definition. It's the freedom from unauthorized intrusion. Now, if I'm going to be secure, will I have to open my doors, like, or lock it? You know, as you see all these locks. Will I have to open it? It's a kind of like a dilemma, so to say. How do we get surveillance and at the same time privacy? Surveillance-related privacy is not a personal privacy. Most of the time we think, oh, if I'm feeling uncomfortable in an environment, in a country, in an environment with people, with associates, I don't need to divulge my information. But this is not about you feeling unfamiliar or insecure or unwanted in an environment. It's about a technology doing its work while the good guys are either using your are either not adamant. I think I use that word. Adamant with your information, as in the information that the technology has captured, or the bad guys would want to use your information indirectly. So it's either of the two. The technology is there doing its work. The internet is there, the satellite is there, and the most important point is that most of this technology are from the military-industrial complex. When we hear the military, but I mean, they are made commercial. The nuclear reactor is from the military-industrial complex. The internet is from the military-industrial complex. Your smartphone is from the military-industrial complex. So you can imagine, you can see the offshoots of what we have. Imagine when you have such power in the hands of the government, the powers that be. I call it the big brothers. Whether it's the business elites or the government in power, you know. Like I told her, if I have a Ferrari, I'd love to drive 200 miles per hour or 300 miles per hour. And if I dare it, someone is going to call the police. And if somebody calls the police, if I'm powerful and I believe that might is right, I would like to influence the mainstream policies. Oh, why can't we do some 300? Why can't we have a place where we'll be driving 300? Before you know it, why can't we spread a place where we have 300 miles per hour? That is exactly the power that we are giving the government with this technology. I mean, if a government has, if a power amongst the government has the power to see and to hear what you can say right in his bedroom, he will effect that. Just have it in mind. It's some things are going to stop it, but the truth is the technology is there. The truth is that the food is there. It's waiting for those who are going to serve it. So it's like I said, it's the technology. New technologies offer new possibilities. And with the convergence of all these technologies, that's the power that's taking place, there will be errors. We have laser cameras converging with the computers converging with the smartphones, the smartphone converging with eyeglasses, Google Glasses converging with databases converging with communication servers converging with your biological, what do you call that thing? Biometrics. I like that word. Biometrics, chemical fingerprints, and all those other things. And there's this cycle. We will see it later. Psychological. I use the word infinitical. Everything is converging. And with this convergence comes the wishes. Algorithms to credit assets and profile, if you're in business, or weapons, which are either fatal, such as smart guns, or non-fatal, such as algorithms to destroy bank accounts. So everything is converging. And with this convergence comes the power. And with this power comes the appeal. So this appeal, how this appeal results, the results of the appeal is what we don't really know. How is the government going to use this? How is the CEO going to, or the board going to use such powers placed in their hands? Then we have the technology trying to maintain itself vis-a-vis the privacy. So we say we live in a world where privacy has and will increasingly become a trade-off for functionalities. But the question is, why do we accept this thing in the first place? Imagine have you ever installed something before? When you're installing something, you click next, 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 next. You don't even read what it is all about, and you click accept. I accept that. Is it the convenience? There's so many questions. Perhaps you don't even care. Perhaps they care, but they accept the convenience in exchange for the risk in privacy violation. Perhaps they cannot even use the tools intended to provide protection. So the designers will have to think like the users and create avenues by which they can be protected. Perhaps it's the way of the world, governed by unpredictable. Okay, somebody churns out technology, innovations, and people just churns it like that. Gulps it the way it's brought out, So, as with all new technologies, the big brothers will not be left out of the party, like I said. Their main aim is security. Intrusions, commercial, financial, and identity intrusions. That's what actually happens. Or discrimination. Those are important factors which the powers that be consider when they want to provide us with security. Everybody knows what Edward Snowden is. I say Edward Snowden is just a reporter. Just like Fox News or CNN or BBC. He's just reporting he's just reporting the inevitable. So we have to get used to surveillance. We have to get used to our privacy being invaded. We have to get used to the new normal, that is happening. Like I said, the new normal. And looking at how we started, it actually started from torture. Imagine, nowadays we don't torture in business. Even in the civilized world or the developed world, I think I'm wrong. They actually, tortures are, let me use the right word. Tortures are limited. Like the Guantanamo that has to be closed and, people raising protests and things like that. But these days, there are other means of surveillance that is likened to torture. It's called psychological torture. So you have somebody trailing someone. I can imagine what's going on, in the mind of the lady when she discovers things like that. You even have people being subjected to experiments that they don't know what the technology is all about. But they're so excited because they've sold security, business security, political security. They've sold, such things there. Then you have the drones, which is the latest surveillance technique, that is part of, you can just see drones. You might just someday, maybe in the next 10, 15 years, see drones flying around you, and you'll be like, I thought 10 years ago they said there'll be bans to drones. you know, but yeah, now drones are delivering products. Drones are being used for networks. Very soon, drones might be used for things you don't know. So depending on the power that be. So those are some of the things that surveillance brings to counter privacy. I'll conclude by saying that our security is our privacy. We can't have security without privacy, because if we don't know if we don't keep what belongs to us, our identity, we will not be secured. You know, so, some elements, some entities would definitely want to invade our privacy. You know, but the truth is, either ways, the more secure we are, the more we try to find out. I mean, I was in a conference and I told someone, I said, the only way you can be secure in this world, if you don't want them to see your grandma's phone number, is to put it under your bed and let it be under your bed for the next 300 years. You know, so the only way we can be secured from surveillance is the respect of our privacy. We have to keep fighting for it. It's not, I mean, the privacy, the surveillance is going to be there. As long as the technology is there, someone is going to bring up issues, policies, principles, whereby surveillance will be overused. But, you know, the truth is both the technology providers, the innovators, and even the users should make sure that they respect the principles of privacy as much as they can. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, recently on